Narad at the palace with the king and queen, and Savitri has arrived, and she tells them she has chosen Satyavan.
Yeah.
And so now we have the fifth line from the bottom. We start with our destiny.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is Ashwapati speaking. No, Narad speaking. And Ashwapati then asks him not to speak any further. And he tells,
I thought it was Ashwapati Sikh speaking, no?
um,
He
yes,
says,
sorry.
well hast thou done, and
Yes,
I approve
of
thy
course.
choice.
Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yes, that is correct. And then Narad might have spoken on page 425, second line. And then again, Aswapati speaks to him. So it's back and forth here. So
Hmm.
now Aswapati said that only for good the secret will can work,
Yeah.
even if it seemed good or evil to our eyes.
Eyes.
And then he says, if there's more, after seeing that clouds chased by the light, if there is more, then all can still be well.
Hmm.
So then he goes that our destiny,
Our destiny is written in double terms. Through nature's contraries, we draw nearer God. Out of the darkness, we still grow to light. Death is our road to immortality.
so this is very important that he speaks of at this point that death is our road to immortality
Hmm.
because he knows that we still have to die. At this
Hmm.
point of Savitri, it's still not given that that death can be conquered.
Hmm.
Savitri, she has to do that. But
Yeah.
he says, through nature's contraries, we do draw nearer God. And out of
Hmm.
the darkness, we still grow to light. And then he continues, cry woe,
Cry woe, cry woe. The world's lost voices wail,
wail, wail,
wail, wail,
wail.
wail.
Like 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 the sea creature, the whale without the
The
H. Whale.
wail, wail.
Hmm.
The world's lost voices wail, yet conquers the eternal good at last.
So what does whale mean? Well, wailing women, they're
Hmm.
crying
Out loud. Yeah,
intensely,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And still, even though these world's voices cry uh, against all the inhumanity of man to man, against all the evil, all the wars, still the eternal good conquers at last.
Hmm.
And so that's the end of his quote.
Then might the sage have spoken, but the king in haste broke out and stayed the dangerous. O singer of the ultimate ecstasy, lend not a dangerous vision to the blind, because by native right thou hast seen clear.
Well, there's a few things here that we have to really
Okay.
look at. First of all, you just said, lend not a dangerous vision to the blind, but it's lend not a dangerous vision to the blind. You have to
Hmm.
emphasize that he doesn't want Narad to speak anymore
Hmm.
and give his vision what he has seen of Satyavan, because
Hmm.
nobody knows yet that Satyavan is going to die. Nobody knows this yet. So he Narad might have spoken, but Aswapati breaks out in haste and stayed, mean held back,
Yeah. Okay.
held back the dangerous word, or stopped the
Oh,
danger.
like stalling. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he says, singer of the ultimate ecstasy, don't lend this dangerous vision to the blind people. The blind is us, all of us.
Yeah.
He's even including himself.
Hmm.
Because by native right thou hast seen clear, because Narad is a sage.
Hmm.
And then he carries on.
Impose not on the mortal's tremulous breast the dire ordeal that foreknowledge brings. Demand not now the Godhead in our acts.
Yeah, so he's very clear. He doesn't want to impose on those who are there listening to Narad this ordeal that
Hmm.
knowledge brings, because then we would have to have the Godhead in our acts. And he
Hmm.
says, don't demand this now.
Yeah.
And he carries on.
Here are not happy peaks the heaven nymphs roam, or Koilas or Vaikunta's starry stare, abrupt, jagged hills only the mighty climb are here. Okay, I think I need to connect that a little more.
Yes.
Abrupt,
Okay, so
jagged hills,
no, it's jagged. Jag,
jagged, okay.
you see,
Abrupt,
jagged is like this. These,
zigzag.
yeah, well, no, jagged means they're like
It's
this.
rough.
Yeah, exactly.
Abrupt, jagged hills only the mighty climb are here where few dare even think to rise. Far voices call down from the dizzy rocks, chill, slippery, precipitous are the paths.
So he knows that on the earth
Hmm.
there aren't those happy peaks of Koilas or Vaikunta,
Hmm.
where the heaven nymphs roam. But
Hmm.
here there are abrupt and jagged hills that only the mighty can climb. When you think
Hmm.
of Everest, or you think of Kanchenjunga, or you think
Yeah.
of America and the great rock faces there that people try to climb,
Hmm.
and few dare even think to rise on those, and then far voices call down from the dizzy rocks,
Hmm.
and chill, slippery, precipitous are the paths. So very, very difficult. Uh, it's a very difficult life here on these paths, because they're chill, they're slippery, and even the dizzy rocks. There seems that the voices call down. What kind of voices we don't know, but obviously dangerous.
Hmm.
And so then he continues.
Too hard the gods are with man's fragile race. In their large heavens they dwell, exempt from fate, and they forget the wounded feet of man, his limbs that faint beneath the whips of grief, his heart that hears the tread of time and death.
So, um, I mean, it's clear that the gods
Yeah,
don't have to face fate that we have to fate,
yeah.
and therefore they forget that man has wounded feet and limbs that faint, and a heart that hears the tread of time and death. So, but you have to start trying to read it and tell me more of the story and feel the rhythm a little bit more, because we've
Okay.
been doing this for quite a while now. Did you
Okay.
prepare it? Did you prepare it beforehand?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, I can tell
Yeah.
the difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so you have to let me feel what he's saying. I can't feel it if you say, and they forget the wounded feet of man. No. And they forget the wounded feet of man. His limbs that faint beneath the whips of grief, his heart that hears the tread of time and death.
Hmm.
See, so you have to be a little more expressive. It
Okay.
will come. It will come.
Yeah.
It's not a criticism. It's always just
No, I got it.
it's an
Yeah.
observation.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, now we have to continue on.
The future's road is hid from mortal sight. He moves towards a veiled and secret face. To light one step in front is all his hope, and only for a little strength he asks to meet the riddle of his shrouded fate.
Yeah, shrouded is absolutely correct here, and this word is so important because when we're shrouded, we're covered with. Maybe we could be. Think of being covered with a bed sheet,
Mm,
and you can't see anything. Well,
mm,
that's your fate. It's
yeah.
shroud. It's shrouded like that.
Mm,
A shroud is often a covering over a woman's face. Also, she wore a shroud. The who was it? One of the saints always wore a shroud,
mm,
and so it's the future's road is hid from us. We move, though, towards a veiled and secret face, which is the divine.
mm,
And yet, to light one step in front is about all we can hope for. And only we ask for just a little strength to
yeah.
meet this riddle of
Mm,
his shrouded fate.
yeah. Awaited by a vague and half-seen force, aware of danger to his certain aware of danger to his uncertain hours, he guards his flickering yearnings from her breath. He feels not when the dreadful fingers close around him with the grasp none can elude.
Well, that's death, huh?
Okay.
That's his image of death. So he's awaited by this vague and half-seen force, and he's aware of danger. We're always aware. We don't know what tomorrow holds for us.
Hmm.
Aware of danger to his uncertain hours. He guards his flickering yearnings from her breath. So man is rather careful to uh, not open himself up to in these uncertain hours, and he doesn't, and still he doesn't feel when the fingers of death close around him with the
Hmm.
grasp none can elude. Very powerful lines,
Hmm.
and because that leads up to what he's going to ask of Narad now.
Yeah. If thou canst loose her grip, then only speak. Perhaps from the iron snare there is escape. Our mind perhaps deceives us with its words and gives the name of doom to our own choice. Perhaps the blindness of our will is fate.
Oh, how powerful, huh?
Mm,
Powerful. That the blindness of our will is fate. So
mm,
if our will wasn't blind, we wouldn't have that fate. we would
Hmm.
be we would be free of
Hmm.
fate.
Hmm.
And that's the difference in karma that
Hmm.
Mother and Sri Aurobindo tell us that greater souls can change their fate.
Hmm.
They're not subject to the fate that we are subject to.
Hmm.
And Sri Aurobindo very clearly says when we begin to offer ourselves to the Divine Mother, then fate is no longer in our lives.
Hmm.
She is choosing our way for us and helping us to get there. So
Hmm.
karma has much less importance once we give ourselves to Mother.
Hmm.
Very interesting, huh?
Yeah, and I found this entire stanza to be very interesting, where he's speaking about men and how sometimes when we are in despair and when we are lost, like we are just like, especially like, we are just looking for the light to the next step, and still there is um, this grip we feel within of the fate and everything. So it's quite powerful, or like quite uh, resonating to the human feelings.
Very true. And
Yeah,
even the grip and even that he says the iron snare.
yeah,
You know what a snare is, huh?
yeah. I know what a snare is. Yeah,
Yeah. So if an animal is snared in an
yeah,
iron grip, then it's caught. It's doomed.
mm,
So he says perhaps from the iron snare there is escape.
yeah, yeah.
And that
Those three lines also I really liked, because though
yeah,
he's talking about all of man's despair and grief, he's also speaking of how we can come out of it. Our mind perhaps all these despair and grief that we are feeling is really from our mind, and gives a name of doom to our own choice. So we have a choice to move out of that, and perhaps the blindness of our will. So to move out of fate, all we need is that will from within ourselves to move out of, to
yes,
step forward.
yeah. And that is exactly what we're going to see with Savitri as we proceed.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because she at first doesn't have that will. Interesting.
Yeah.
At first
Hmm.
she wants to follow Satyavan even into death.
Yeah.
And we will hear about that. We will read about that. Now we
So,
have a few
Narad,
minutes more. Yeah, go ahead. Question. Yeah. Oh. Did I lose you? Yeah, I did.
sections in this one.
Now I got you back again. I lost you for a moment. What
Uh,
did you
I was asking, I was asking, should we move ahead, or shall I just reread this entire passage, because you had suggested
Yeah.
some corrections, and if I have to
Yeah.
like go through it couple of
I
times,
think
then we
it's a
would
good
have time.
idea to reread it because I have an
Yeah,
11 o'clock also. So
yeah,
perfect. Yeah. Why don't you do that?
okay. And also it is a good stop, because then from the next class we can read Narad.
Yes, exactly. Good. Well, actually, the Queen is next. So we'll see
Oh, the Queen is next.
what she
Okay.
says next. So let's start where you began, which was our destiny.
Our destiny. Our destiny is written in double through nature's contraries. We draw nearer God. Out of the darkness, we still grow to light. Death is our road to immortality.
Read a little bit,
Cry,
little slower, a little slower.
okay. Our destiny is written in double terms. Through nature's contraries, we draw nearer God. Out of the darkness we still grow to light. Death is our road to immortality. Cry woo,
No, whoa,
worlds
whoa,
woe.
whoa,
Cry
whoa,
woe,
woe is
cry
pain.
woe,
Yeah.
cry woe. The world's lost voices wail, yet conquers the eternal good at last. Then might the sage have spoken, but the king in haste broke out and stayed the dangerous word. O singer of the ultimate ecstasy, lend not a dangerous vision to the blind, because by native right thou hast seen clear. Impose not on the mortal's tremulous breast the dire ordeal that foreknowledge brings. Demand not now the Godhead in our acts.
Okay, you lost it on those last three lines. You were doing so well up there. Now
Okay, I will
you
try.
now you just read lines.
I will
So
attempt it again.
impose not on the mortal.
Impose not, impose not on the mortal's tremulous breast the dire ordeal that foreknowledge brings. Demand not now the Godhead in our acts.
No, demand not now the Godhead
Or
in our acts.
okay. Impose not on the mortal's tremulous breast the dire ordeal that foreknowledge brings. Demand not now the Godhead in our acts. Here are not happy peaks the heaven nymphs roam, or Koilas, or Vaikunta's starry stare.
Can
What
you
is
say those two
Koilas,
lines?
Narad?
Say those two lines to me again so that I can feel that here are not happy peaks where the heaven nymphs roam, or Koilas or Vaikanta's starry stare. I have to feel that from you.
Okay. I know Vaikunta is a place where Vishnu lives. Koilas? I've
Mhm.
never heard of
Well,
Koilas.
it's usually spelled Kailas. K A.
Oh, it's the Kailas. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Here are not happy peaks the heaven nymphs roam, or Koilas, or Vaikunta's starry stare. Abrupt, jagged hills only the mighty climb. Here, sorry, are here where few dare. I'll read the whole thing again. I lost
Yes,
it.
please.
Here are not happy peaks the heaven nymphs roam, or Kailas, or Vaikunta's starry stare. Abrupt, jagged hills only the mighty climb are here, where few dare even think to rise. Far voices call down the dizzy rocks,
From the dizzy
chill.
rocks. They call down from the dizzy rocks.
Far voices call down from the dizzy rocks, chill, slippery, precipitous are the paths. Too hard the gods are with man's fragile rays. In their large heavens they dwell, exempt from fate. And they forget the wounded feet of man,
Now that
his
line,
limbs.
that's the way you have to read all the lines with that
Okay.
kind of emphasis and depth of feeling. But you'll get there. Okay, let's
I don't
carry.
know. For it's some of it just comes, some of it doesn't. I don't know how to
It's
make it a
because it's
constant.
because of Sri Aurobindo's poetry. This is not prose. This is
Hmm,
poetry, and poetry has a very different rhythm to it, and you have
hmm.
to try and catch that rhythm, and you just caught it there. And they forget the wounded feet of
The
man.
wounded feet of man, his limbs that faint beneath the wisps of grief, his heart that hears the tread of time and death. The future's road is hid from mortal sight. He moves towards a veiled and secret face. To light one step in front is all his hope, and only for a little strength he asks to meet the riddle of his shrouded fate. Awaited by a vague and half-seen force, aware of danger to his uncertain hours, he guards his flickering yearnings from her breath. He feels not when the dreadful fingers close around him with the grasp none can elude. If thou canst loose her grip, then only speak. Perhaps from the iron snare there is escape. Our mind perhaps deceives us with its words and gives the name of doom to our own choice. Perhaps the blindness of our will is fate.
Well, now I give you some homework. Um,
Okay,
for Tuesday, read
okay,
read this passage to me again
okay,
with all the necessary inflections and feeling that it carries.
okay. I shall attempt
Give it a
that.
try. Okay,
Okay.
wonderful.
Okay, thank you so much, Narad.
Welcome. Good work. Good work
See
today.
you on Tuesday.